Okay guys, our latest update 1.11.1 is now up and running on every single server, introducing new Italian heavy tanks, which of course is the main feature, together with Platoon 2.0 and some other interface changes. And today also they finally released Carro da Combattimento 45t for all the Clan Wars players, and in this video I am going to show you the first gameplay action, the first gameplay review I was able to get my hands on. Ladies and gentlemen, this is our new Tier 10 Clan Wars reward vehicle, Italian medium tank Carro da Combattimento with auto-reloading gun for 100 alpha damage. Now, because sadly I simply wasn't able to take part of any Clan Wars campaigns, I just sadly lacked the time to do that. But luckily people are already uploading replays to the site, and we're able to take a look at what this vehicle is made of, what this vehicle is capable of doing. Now, straight away looking at the ammunition loadout, basically every single, like 95% of the replays uploaded right now are fully with APCR, because because APCR does that, right guys? APCR simply blows up every single vehicle. It just makes you a better player. But this is going to be our next Chieftain on the battlefield, performance-wise. Whenever you see this tank on the battlefield, just be ready. You are going to see players firing APCR ammunition at you, because the penetration difference is actually quite massive. So the standard round, 400 alpha damage, I talked about that already, has 248 millimeters of penetration, AP round, right, with a shell velocity of 960, which is quite bad. We have like so many 1100 AP rounds as well in this game. So switching to the APCR ammunition from 248 millimeters of penetration, now you are going to be raised to 320 and 1219 meters per second shell velocity. And because it is a Clan Wars reward vehicle, many people are trying to free mark it. It is going to be one extremely hard tank to free mark, one of the hardest tanks in this game to free mark overall, so people are just using everything possible. It is understandable for a vehicle like that. It is actually understandable. So I'm just saying, if you see this vehicle, just try to angle your armor, because you know APCR is not working the best at angled armor and maybe you can trick out some bounces that way. But Carro da Combattimento. Let's, while you enjoy this first gameplay action, on the background played by a username, sadly I am not able to pronounce, but thank you for uploading it, Haberel, I think, Naberel maybe, I think. But thank you for sharing this battle with the community, so we're able to check it out as well. At the same time, let me tell you what this tank has to offer in its final form, because I covered my first impressions preview about Carro da Combattimento 45t, and it was already back then quite impressive. I really enjoyed how this tank looks. I thought it is the most modern, it is the new most modern looking tank in this game, and indeed, every single like Italian tank released with update 1.11.1 is super cool looking, one of the coolest looking tank lines, tanks in this game, besides the Tier 7 Italian heavy tank, which looks simply put together from all the extra sheets, metal sheets and pieces tank engineers had laying around in the garage. Like, oh, I have that massive big long sheet of metal from Dog 2 left over, let's use that on that vehicle. That P88 or whatever that vehicle was called is quite stupid looking, but hey, after playing many battles against it, I'm going to tell you guys, that tank is going to have many troll bouncing games. That armor is so troll many times. It's unbelievable how troll and crazy bounces that Tier 7 tank can get sometimes. But talking about Carro da Combattimento, so firepower, it comes with 2500 stock DPM, having auto-reloading gun. So, as you can see from the screen, right now the hero is emptying the clip, 4 shells in the magazine. Reload time between shots is actually quite long, 4-second reload time. So if you think, if you want to cycle through the final shell, you actually have to wait only 5 seconds on the reload time itself, because you can't fire faster anyway. So if your magazine is completely empty, let's talk about reload times. If your magazine is completely empty, stock reload time for the first shell to the magazine, which takes the longest time, of course, 15.34 seconds for 400 alpha damage. If you have 1 shell in the magazine, second shell takes 13.42 seconds. If you have 2 shells, third shell takes 11.51 seconds. And if you want to so-called maximize your DPM without emptying your clip, final shell, cycling through the final shell for 400 alpha damage takes 9.59 seconds. This is stock statistic. You are able to boost it definitely with ventilation, with food, with directives, with crew skills like brothers in arms, you know, equipment units, and then all the other consumables help to boost those reload times. And you're able to get your DPM even higher. So this tank is actually very, very, very devastating, taking out let's just say 2000 hit points vehicles, because you need to cycle through 1 shot, you take 1 shot, you wait for the full reload, 400 damage done, and then smack 1600 damage in 12 seconds, because 4-second reload time between shots. It is quite devastating, taking out other medium tanks, and if the player plays the situation perfectly, let's say it takes 1 shot to trade, or maybe even uses hull down position, takes 1 shot to the enemy with 2000 hit points, then waits for the reload, and then charges in and empties all the other shots, poof, 2000 HP. On average, you can high roll, you can low roll, poof, gone. And tank has been destroyed. So this is where those type of tanks are going to be the most devastating tanks. 1600 clip damage potential and 12 seconds to empty it after the first shot. Talking about the gun handling stats, 2.88 second aiming time. So aiming time is not the best, but as you can see from the replay as well, this is why we need to look how the vehicle plays, how the vehicle looks like in actual situations. You can see that on the move bloom and all those things are actually not half bad. Like on the move, I have seen so much worse, so many worse on the move blooms, on the move accuracies, turret rotation accuracies, and so on, because the overall dispersion is 0.36 with 0.15 moving, 0.15 tank traverse, and 0.12 turret traverse accuracies or blooms. Because aiming time on paper, 2.88 second aiming time is quite bad. Yes, you can see that from the gameplay as well, that aiming time in many situations, you're going to see that towards the end of the battle is definitely not helping out this vehicle, but I hope this is one of the balancing features of the Carro da Combattimento. If you aim too fast, if you are way too broken and overpowered, well, it is quite hard to fight against it, right? Because it is able to take super fast snapshots, it is able to start shooting at you faster than you, and it is not good for anyone. So mobility, 55 kilometers per hour top speed. It is not the fastest medium tank in this game. It is a medium tank, but not the fastest medium tank top speed wise, but definitely not slow. 23 moving backwards, 800 horsepower engine gives it 17.78 power to weight ratio. Power to weight ratio for a medium tank is also, I would say, average at the best. There are worse, there are better. There are way worse, there are way better medium tanks, mobility wise. Tank traverse 44.85 is okay. Tank traverse, there are vehicles with 50, there are vehicles with less once again, I would say. And minus 9 degrees of gun depression, 15 degrees of gun elevation also gives this vehicle a lot of flexibility. Minus 9 degrees of gun depression, especially gun elevation, many times you are not going to see that, you are not going to use that. And in this situation, for example, you can see this aiming time in action. You have to aim in quite a long time before you take that shot, and this was the full aiming circle. I have no idea, sadly, I have no idea about the equipment unit the player is using right now, but I imagine at least vertical stabilizer or improved rotation mechanism, or maybe even both. If you have it, you can let people know in the comment section what are you using. I'm going to talk about the armor in a moment, because this is actually very important to know where to shoot it, because there are actually quite a few Carros cruising around on the battlefield right now. GG, battle is over. Not a bad score. So view range is 400 meters, which is very good, which means you are not forced to use coated optics, for example, if you do not want to do that. But of course, if you want to T-value more enemy camo, you can do that. It is not 420 like on Platoon or Leopard 1, but 400 is actually quite good. 1900 hit points, and armor values 80 in the front, 70 on the sides of the hull, and 30 in the rear, 230, 80, and 50 on the turret. Turret seems to be very, very beefy, so now let's actually see what this tank has to offer armor-wise. So frontally, if you see this tank frontally, pay attention that here are actually two upper plates. The first upper plate is the little one over there with extra angling, like towards you, for you. Let's just say easier to penetrate, and the upper plate is basically impenetrable. This angle is way too good. It is automatic ricochet angle for most of the tanks, and this is how this vehicle is going to get the most bounces actually. If you want to penetrate it, just aim straight into the middle. This is where you are able to go through. 203 millimeters of armoring, 45 degrees of an angle, and the lower plate, ladies and gentlemen, keep in mind, is going to be an auto bounce as well, because that lower plate is a little trick. It is angled a lot more. Like, you may not even see that from the visual model. Like, you may not even notice that in the heat of battle, in the heat of action. Like, most of the times you're not going to notice it. That lower plate is actually out of bounds angle, but those areas are easily going in, even with some tier 8 tanks, or many tier 8 tanks. Turret, as you just saw, is quite completely red with standard ammunition at least, but if you load in APCR ammunition, yep, you can see a lot more green. 230 right there, 230 in the turret ring, on the sides, in the face. Yeah, if you want to penetrate that vehicle with 240 millimeters of penetration, you are kind of forced to shoot the commander hatch, or, which is actually exists over here, but only on that side, only on the right side. It has kind of a mohawk theme going on the top of the turret, as you can see, mohawk. And this hides the commander hatch from that side, but then you are able to penetrate this little area right over there. So it is a tricky tank. It is definitely a tricky tank. And if you can see the turret on the angle like this, just shoot to the cheeks. This is the biggest weakness of all those turrets which are shaped like this. Many of those Italians are. Like, if you face towards your enemies, it is very strong, very tough. You see a lot of penetration needed, but if slightly angled, you kill, it's like pikey nose on heavy tanks who are not able to side scrape. If you side scrape with pikey nose, you basically make the angle for the enemy better, and it goes through. So quite an interesting animal. Yeah, you can overmatch the underneath of the turret as well, but I wouldn't count on that. Seems to be like decent side scraper, maybe even. Depends on the angle. Like, okay side scraper. Yeah, you can overmatch the engine bay. Okay-ish side scraper. Yeah, so sides, once again, mohawk is penetrable. Those cheeks, commander hatch. And yeah, this is how Carro da Combattimento looks, ladies and gentlemen. First gameplay action today. You saw on the background, and I think I'm going to show you some more gameplay action on the background right now, just to finish off today's video. Let me know if you were able to get this vehicle with the first go, because this is the first time they released it through the Clan Wars campaigns. Every single time people have something new to choose, or they can bets for the old vehicles, however the Clan Wars work. I'm actually quite sad I'm not able to get any of those Clan Wars reward vehicles. Maybe in the future I have to look into it a bit more. The thing is, right now, my schedule is just so hectic, and I simply do not have time to spend on it because I don't want to leech on any clan, you know. If I join the clan and they are taking part of the events and I'm just leeching over there, they are going online, they're going to be online on certain hours, and if I'm not able to make it, it just makes me feel bad. It's just life, which is crazy, hectic, busy at the moment. Hopefully in the future, and Wargaming actually didn't give me, I don't know about other CCs, but at least they didn't give me this tank to test out. But looking at the replays, looking at the specs, looking how this battle plays on the battlefield, and after having played this game for over 9 years, I can get quite a nice idea already how this tank looks like and how it performs. Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, once again, if you are playing with it, if you haven't tried it out, let me know what you think about that. Is it as good as Chieftain? What do you think? I don't think it is going to be as good as Chieftain. Of course, good players can make every single tank super good, but it is not going to be the flat-out Chieftain, in my opinion, which is just constantly push out damage, push out damage, push, damage, 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 mobility, and everything. You know, this tank has something else to offer, though. So please let me know in the comment section down below. I thank you so much for tuning in. I catch you next time with something else, maybe about some more Italian tanks, and yeah, stay awesome, stay sexy, stay naked, take care, and bye.